Hi, friends, and welcome to Decorate Your Life, Scrapbooking and Card Making. Today I'm sharing my craft room with you, and I've done a couple of craft room tours in the past, but these were just general tours. I never got into any details of how I store my items, and you're going to get a lot of that in this tour. I'll be sharing a couple of storage tips and ideas with you, especially for those of you who design for stores and paper crafting companies. And as you will see, this is quite a tiny space. And I think that those of you with small craft rooms and small crafting spaces will appreciate some of the storage ideas that you see here. In the next few clips, what you'll see is a general pan of how I managed to contain my crafting supplies in such a tiny space. I don't have anything hanging from pegs and any open shelf concepts simply because it would be much too overwhelming for me. This is quite a tiny space. In fact, it used to be our laundry room, but with the help of my husband and son, they managed to flip the connections to the other side of the wall, which is the garage, and that's where I do my laundry now. What you'll notice too is that my craft room begins in this hallway. I have two more bookshelves just like the one that you see here, but those bookshelves are in my closet and they contain seasonal supplies and office supplies for my business. So, as you may imagine, this craft room has to serve dual purpose. It's a place for me to escape and craft to my heart's content, but it is also a place for me where I'm on the phone a good part of the day, building websites, managing websites, and handling any client issues that may arise. So we've created a space that is both peaceful and functional for me. I hope that you enjoy my craft room tour and get plenty of storage ideas from it. Enjoy the tour. Okay, so in this container is where I keep all of my cards that I have already made. Once this container is full, what I tend to do is I donate all of my handmade cards to a senior citizen place, so that way whenever they have birthdays coming up and so forth, and Christmas and whatnot, Mother's Day, they can go ahead and make out um, cards for the senior citizens that um, often are forgotten. So over here is where I keep a lot of my packaging, and over here I keep some stamps, and anything that you don't see a label on is stuff that I am still working on. Right up here I do have more storage, and I do have a tutorial on this, on how to put these together, and I will link you in the area right up there and perhaps in the area right below the video. So this is where I keep some of my memory decks cards that have been sent to me, and I labeled it Happy Mail to remind me to choose recipients from here, but I also have others in other spots. Now over here I am keeping some wood embellishments. Here I do have some die cuts and ephemera, and this is something that I'm currently working on. And I'm also working on this basket and the basket that you see up there. Now over here, what you will find are just regular generic type stamps. This is an empty box that I'm holding for something else, and so these buckets, I got them at Dollar Tree, and they are really cute, only $1, and I do have some of my stamps here, here, and here. And right below it, I have more items that I'm currently working on, as you can see. Let's see. This one doesn't have a label, but I believe it has to do with packaging, and this one is packaging for Easter and spring items, and my label is not holding up very well. And what I have over here, I made this holder a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I forget. This pretty much holds my these cards right here, my Project Life cards. I have a ton of them. I used to buy them all the time because I find such great deals, and I had to put a stop to that because I just don't have the time to work with Project Life. So, but I am holding on to them. They make great ephemera and so forth. What I have over here are journals that I have purchased, journals that I have been gifted to me, and just notebooks. I love notebooks. I have this passion for writing stuff down. And over here you will see some of the things that I've made, some of the things that I've purchased, some of the things that have been given to me, and some items, some whatchamacallit. This right here is one of my favorite. As you can see, it's almost falling apart. I gotta re-glue it. And what this does is it holds scriptures. It's a composition notebook, and I have scriptures and writings here, and things from our church leaders and so forth. And I just hold things near here. I have an anniversary card for my husband. Oops, I just dropped that. And yeah, just things that I like to write that make me feel better, and it's kind of like prayer but in writing form. So yeah, this is one of my very favorite notebooks. Okay, so moving along, these, I gave away a ton of paper, paper that I have bought through the years and that have just been sitting there, and so just different brand papers, and these are the ones that I kept, and so these are the ones that I will someday work with. And so over here I have gotten rid of most of my 6x6 paper pads, but I am using them for like card making and whatnot. Let me show you what else is down here. And so over here I'm just keeping odds and ends, okay? This is from Creativation. It's a catalog of things, and actually it needs to go with my other stuff. And over here I like to keep bags and packing supplies. So I got this rolling cart to keep my card making supplies and my glues and double-sided tapes and glue gun and so forth. So there's a ton of blank cards and envelopes right along here, and the other night I was playing with some graphic 45 tags, and I created this out of tags. So there's a card right there. And what I'm keeping along this side are items that I still need to work with, items that I want to work with some more. Pretty much fresh new dies and items. Some of these are for giveaways and so forth. Whenever you see me with two of the same like these, it's because one is for me and the other one is for a giveaway that I'll be putting together. These are just basically for giveaways as well. Some Spellbinders Platinum die cutting machine keychains, and here are some cards that people have gifted to me, and also cards that I have made that have already been photographed. Usually my process is when I do a design team video, a design team project, I'll go ahead and put the things that I need to photograph and video, I'll put them right here, so that way when I'm ready to, I'll go ahead and do so, and then I'll just come back and put them here. And later on, like in a month or so, what I will do is I'll go ahead and go through them and see what I'm going to give away, what I'm going to donate, and what I'm going to use for personal use. So over here what you will find are like double-sided tapes, mounting tapes, and so forth for my mini albums and cards and so forth. And down here I'm just keeping more of the same. And let's see, I have my heating tool and some packing tape and some glue. Now this part right here is kind of sort of like a catch-all, but then again, it's an organized catch-all. As you can see, I have notepads together in one pocket. I have the, whatchamacallit, these clothespins in another pocket. And as you can see, this is just a bunch of items that I use that I just need to turn around and grab. And here, this item actually belongs over here with the other ones. Okay, and so I just basically turn around and grab the things that I need. I have a bunch of straws here and doilies and tags that people have gifted me, and I have some more giveaway items here. And so over here I do love to use my cinch machine for journals and mini albums, and whenever I find a good deal on these, I go ahead and get a few. So, and I get them in several different sizes. Now over here, what you're going to come across are items that I would love to work with. These are paper mache boxes that I still need to work with, and I did this mini album that had a lot of shabby chic components in it, so I used one of these containers to throw everything that I wanted to work with in there, and I just left it up there because now that I'm done with that project, I need to empty that out, just basically go through and see, put the trims away and the pearls away and everything else away. And speaking of trims and whatnot, I do, like I said earlier, the ones that I do have labeled are the ones that are actually organized, and everything else just needs to be organized. And over here I have some of my Graphic 45 projects that you'll probably recognize from earlier videos. And let me just pan through this and so forth. Now, what I'm storing alongside here is bling. This is all just bling, and it's an easy reach for me because my chair is right behind us, and all I do is swivel to this side and I just grab what I need. Now, because a lot of my crafting is design team work, I thought it was important for me to arrange items from my design team packages in a way that they would be accessible to me, quickly accessible to me, and organized as well. As you have seen, this is a very tiny space, and so I needed to come up with a system that worked for me. Now, the reason why I altered these into smaller cubes is because I found that if I break things down into subcategories, I'm able to find items a lot quicker than if I would have just a regular size cube and everything dumped in there. So, for example, this one right here says metals, and by the way, all of this right here, from here through here, is all Graphic 45, and over here I have, let me pan this way, and over here I have designer stamps, so, which do include Graphic 45 stamps. So let's start over here. Metals. I do have Graphic 45 metals along with other metals from my stash, and so it's so easy for me when I'm working to just grab what I need in here. Alright, now another easy find is my tags, and I decided that I was going to label my tags by color instead of size because I work best by color. And so here is where you'll find all sorts of sizes. Sorry, I know you can't see, for my tags, and all of these tags are Graphic 45. So there we go, and just different sizes of tags. And I'm really enjoying how this is working out. This works so well for me. And what I've done here is I've added all of my Graphic 45 flowers, okay? All of the flowers that I use, they're all right in there, and it's all Graphic 45. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and put these back here because it is overflowing, and so this gets to go right there. Now, once again, here we have some tags, and I just labeled these black tags, and as you can see, all of my Graphic 45 black tags, and I also added some policy envelopes in there. There we go. Now, I'm still using this bin for journaling cards, but I'm finding now that, let's say I'm working with this paper line or this paper collection, I'm finding that if I add this to the package of the paper collection, I have everything there. So I'm slowly moving from here to just adding everything with a package. That way everything is together. And so that cuts back on time on me trying to find the correct journaling cards and so forth. What I have over here are designer stamps, and I do have another bin with stamps, and over here what you will see mostly is the Graphic 45 stamps from different collections, and I have Sizzix stamps and all sorts of stamps. Now, in this level over here, I'm keeping all of my cardstocks and chipboards and specialty papers like these papers, the watercolor papers. What you will find over here are some of my dies. Mostly, these are going to be the Spellbinders dies, and these are dies that I decided to categorize like in pockets and labels, and then there's the thin dies, but it's really not following a system right now because I'm still trying to get this organized to the way that it works for me. And this is where I keep my Spellbinders 2019 catalog, which tells me when a die is going to be released so that I can go ahead and work with it if I have it in my package and so forth, and just for ideas to share with y'all. Now, I've gone through several different ways of storing my Graphic 45 paper pads. As you have seen, this is a very tiny space, and so I have to make the most out of what I have. And so I decided on storing them in crates because it is a whole lot easier for me to pull the entire crate out than at the bottom to try and go through each and every single pack. So what I'm keeping over here are just some paper pads that I have, and these are paper pads that I have purchased with my own money, and I also have some chipboard pieces that I have purchased with my own money, and over here I do have some boxes and mini albums from Design Team packages that I still need to work with, like for example something like this and so forth. And I also have a couple of projects that I did not complete that I will be picking up sometime this year because I didn't have the time to complete it, but I was in the process of making a couple of journals the latter part of last year, but other things took I needed to get other things done, so I'm just holding on to this for later, a later project. So let me go ahead and slide this back. See how easy that was? And over here is where I'm keeping my Design Team papers that they sent to me, and these are all from Design Team packages, and I'm keeping some chipboards here, and I do have some of the 8x8 paper pads here. And so now I'm going to share with you a tip that has worked for me, and this could this tip could serve anybody, whether you're in a design team or you like to keep track of what you buy and what you actually use. What I've done here is I've done a system in which these are my last papers. Let me see if I can show this to you. Hang on just a moment. Okay, so what I do is I don't throw out my packing slips. You know how whenever a company sends you something, they send you a packing slip along with the items, the number of items and so forth that they send. So what I do now is I hold on to my packing slips. I staple them together, okay? And then whenever I complete a project using a certain paper collection or a box or a certain tags of a certain color, I start marking things off. That way it helps me keep track of what I have already used for my design team package. It helps me keep track of the projects that I have already done and shown y'all from my design team package. And I also look to see, okay, I have yet to work with the shabby chic ornate metal keyholes. I have yet to work with this large tag album in black. So this way I know where I should be, what projects I should be doing. Like over here, let's see, 6-pack Baby to Bride Deluxe Collector's Edition. Okay, so that tells me that I need to make a mini album for the Baby to Bride Deluxe Collector's Edition. Children's Hour 8x8 paper pads. I have yet to do a design team project using this paper pad. So by me putting all of the stapling all of the these slips together, it has helped me immensely in keeping track of everything that I do, okay, for the design team. And yeah, and what I also did was I printed out the contract, because you know how when you're in a design team, you have a contract that you sign that explains the terms and explains what's expected of you and so forth. And sometimes I do need to thumb through this to see, okay, this is what's expected of me and this is how many of which I have to do. So I keep my contract and I keep my slips with all of the inventory from the DT packages. I keep them all right here in a crate. And like I said, whether you design for whoever you design for, I think this is a great idea to help you keep track of everything that you're doing. Sorry, you get to see my sandals. And so yeah, it's working very well for me, and it just helps me keep track of everything. Okay, so it's no secret that I love to work with my We Are Memory Keepers boards, whether I'm making boxes or fans or whatever, frames. I love using my We Are Memory Keepers, and I've actually managed to keep all of my We Are Memory Keepers in one section. So I'm not going to pull everything out, but just to like give you a peek of everything that I have, from punch board to everything. I even have something right there, I believe. What is it? I can't see from here. It's a one of these that I have yet to use. Oh, it's one of these. Okay, and so I'm keeping it there because I do want to use it. And I have more We Are Memory Keepers right along here. Let me move my camera. Sorry about the jiggle. Right along here. And what I'm keeping here are just odds and ends like washi and some ephemera. It's not yet labeled, so it's still a work in progress. And what I'm keeping here are my tools for when I'm working with with metals and when I'm working with jewelry like chunky charms and all of that. Now, I haven't found a permanent home for my circle punches yet. In fact, I have a ton of punches that I still need to find a home for, and but I'm keeping these two here because these two are the sizes that I work with the most, so they have to be whatchamacallit, accessible, quickly accessible to me, so that's where I'm keeping them. And over here we have more We Are Memory Keepers tools, and although this is not a We Are Memory Keepers tool, I do use this, so I just keep it right along there. And as you can see, this is not organized, therefore it doesn't have a label. And let's see, let's move on to the next one. And right along here I keep all sorts of pens and markers and coloring pencils, and I keep I call it my electronics. I keep my electronics here for like whenever I need to recharge my Bose, and whenever I need to plug in my microphone and my rechargeable batteries and everything, and I do keep some of these there. And let me go back here to show you some more stuff. Now that I'm not going to get into right now. This is mostly for work, okay? So there's a lot of personal data there, and I do take a ton of notes, so I'm not going to go through that. But you have seen me show this to y'all before, and this is my planner. It's a huge planner, desk size, and I do use it each and every single day, and it's a lot of chicken scratch in there, so I don't pretty up the weeks or anything because I need every single space in my planner because there's a ton of stuff that I do throughout the day. And down here, let me bring this down. Right here we are going to find flowers. I have separated the flowers by color, and yeah, I only use certain color flowers, so that's why you will find white and pink or purple and blue, and then with just the regular flowers it's just, you know, whatever color there is. Okay, and over here I do have some card making ribbons, and this is going to be in the white and the blue. Okay, and moving further down, I have my Spellbinders Platinum machine, and I only pull that one to use when I'm doing the big dies, you know, like dies like this, the huge ones. Okay, and over here I have some more dies from Spellbinders, like so, and Sizzix and whatnot. And I got this really neat Space Saver case at Hobby Lobby. Let me move the camera. Okay, this is going to hold a ton of dies. It already holds a ton of dies for me. I have my Graphic 45 dies in here. Let's see if I can just open it for you real quick so that you can see. There we go. We have magnetic sheets, okay, and it's a space saver. I just love this. Over here I have like a ton of magnetic sheets with a ton of dies in here, and it's just, see, like my Spellbinders dies, and let's see, I have a ton of dies. Here's some more dies, and I wish that I could better categorize this, but you know, once again, it's because of the space. I really don't have that much space, so I have to be very mindful of how I store everything. So, but this is working for me, so there we go. Okay. And what we have over here, let me turn this around, This has become kind of like a catch-all, except for a couple of drawers. No, except for one drawer actually. So I'll show you the one. This is where I keep all of my traveler's notebooks, extra traveler's notebooks and traveler's notebooks, whatchamacallit, inserts. I'm keeping them right in here because I do like to use them, and right now I'm focusing on just using one, but I do love to pretty them up and everything, so that's where I keep those. Okay, so over here, I'm just keeping some inspiration. This is just projects that I've made for Graphic 45, and oh, I love this one over here. I don't know if I made a video on this. I might have. I don't remember. But let me show you real quick. This is one of my favorite tag albums that I've made. And this is actually a Halloween tag album. And this tag album was inspired by, believe it or not, do y'all watch goth videos like Lolita Goth, Pastel Goth? This mini album was actually inspired by one of those videos when I was watching the pastel goths, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a pastel, or try to make a pastel goth mini album. And I used the Graphic 45 Halloween in Wonderland collection, and I thought that white and dark was a really, really neat whatchamacallit, ensemble. And so this is, let me just, I'm trying to do this with one hand, and I did use some of the Graphic 45 stamps and just a little bit of an embellishment, and just like that. And I used a whatchamacallit over here, the metal keyhole right in the front, and I just love the way this came out. I love it, I love it. I know that I say that a lot, but I love it. And if you've been with me for a while, you may recall that I had a hard time with this card. Okay, and I asked y'all for suggestions, and somebody said to use a magnet, and guess what? I did, and it worked, and it's still here. So yeah, that magnet idea, thank you so much, because it worked. Alrighty, and here is another explosion box that I made as a prototype. I was just playing around to see if it would work for me, and it did. Okay, so over here is where I'm keeping some of my woodblock stamps, and also some of my Graphic 45 stamp pads and some embossing powders. Now, I have tried playing with embossing powders in the past, but I'm still learning the techniques. I haven't given up on embossing powders yet, and so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm intrigued by them. And right up there, I also have some cards that were gifted to me, a couple of cards gifted to me, one that I made and another project that I made. And so let's move along. Okay, I had to switch cameras. So over here is the not so pretty part, the part that you just don't get to see in my videos. You only get to see this surface right here. This is where I craft from. This is where I work from. I do have my laminator right there, and it's hooked up, my fan, just some things, odds and ends right along there. My television where I like to watch shows, and this is my fancy lighting so that you can get well lit videos. And so anyways, yeah, this is where I work from. And let's see, right along here you will find this has a ton of washi tape, and I stopped buying washi tape because I was like, just how much washi tape do I need? You know. And over here are just some things that I was working on. I have my We Are Memory Keepers sewing machine there. I have a ton of whatchamacallit, punches, paper punches, another We Are Memory Keepers. And this right here is my Spellbinders mat that you see when I'm doing Spellbinders videos. And I just have some things up there, and I have some these paper pads are more for like Christmas and Halloween and fall, you know, something that I don't work on all the time, so I just keep them up there. Seasonal, that's what I want to call it, seasonal. I have more cards there. I have projects people have sent me and just more stuff. And this is where I keep some metals as well to for jewelry making and charm making and whatnot. And this is pretty much it. Thank you so very much for watching my videos. And yeah, this is where the magic happens. And yeah, this is my tiny little piece of heaven. And let me go ahead and back out so that y'all can get to see what I do. And yeah, that is where I like to spend a good amount of my time. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you once again in the next video. Bye now.